to the land down under.
The land and beyond.
My family and everyone coming to Cleveland is working out perfectly because we have time to enjoy Cleveland and not be a distraction to Tristan in any way. He is on the road and then he gets back the last night before everybody leaves. So he gets to see everybody and just everything's working out perfectly.
What happens when you take the most glamorous sisters in reality TV out of their LA bubble and drop them in Cleveland, Ohio? Spoiler alert, tears, truth bombs, and a whole lot of designer luggage. Welcome back to Celeb Tales HD, where today we're diving deep into one of the most unexpectedly emotional episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, when Khloe Kardashian invited Kim and Kourtney to her other home. And trust me, this isn't your average girls' trip. This is the moment the family realized Khloe wasn't just visiting Cleveland anymore. She was living there. Before we get into all the drama, do me a solid and smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you never miss the tea we're serving hot and fresh. Now, let's set the scene. Picture this, Khloe Kardashian, the sister who was always right there in Calabasas, suddenly spending more time in Ohio than in her own hometown. Why? 2 words, Tristan Thompson. The NBA player had completely changed Khloe's trajectory, and while the family supported her happiness, there was this underlying tension nobody wanted to say out loud. Khloe was slipping away from the Kardashian headquarters, and this trip? This trip was about to make that reality hit harder than a Kris-Jenner business deal. So Khloe decides to organize her first ever girls' trip to Cleveland. Not Paris. Not the Maldives. Not even Miami. Cleveland. And she's bringing the whole crew, Kim, Kourtney, and her ride-or-die besties Malika and Khadijah Hack. The timing is perfect because Tristan's away on an NBA road game, which means the girls have the house to themselves for maximum bonding, gossip, and inevitably, some emotional breakdowns. Because let's be real, nothing says Kardashian family trip like at least one person crying by the end. The moment they arrive, you can feel the culture shock radiating through the screen. These are women who can't walk to Starbucks in LA without 16 paparazzi cameras in their face. But in Cleveland, they're practically invisible. And honestly, they're loving it. Kim's walking around like she just discovered freedom for the first time, and Kourtney's taking it all in with this mix of fascination and mild concern. It's like watching fish out of water, except these fish are wearing Balenciaga and carrying Birkin bags. But here's where things get interesting. As they're settling into Tristan's house, which, let's be honest, is basically Khloe's house now, the sisters start noticing things. Little things. Big things. Permanent things. We're talking about a fully stocked closet that's split 50-50 between Tristan's stuff and Khloe's designer collection. We're talking about decor that screams Khloe's aesthetic. We're talking about the kind of lived-in comfort that only comes when you're not just visiting anymore. You're home. And you can see it on Kim and Kourtney's faces. That moment of realization. That quiet, oh, moment where it sinks in that their sister isn't playing house. She's built one. There's a difference between your sister dating someone long distance and your sister having an entire second life in another state. This wasn't temporary. Khloe had a whole half of the closet, people. In Kardashian world, closet space is sacred. That's not a casual commitment. That's marriage-level territory. The group unpacks, and by unpack, I mean they're opening boxes from shopping sprees like it's Christmas morning, because even in Cleveland, the Kardashians are still the Kardashians, and then Khloe gives them the full tour. Every room. Every detail. Every corner of this space that she's clearly put her heart into making feel like home. Tristan even made sure the house was extra welcoming because, in his words, he wanted to make sure Khloe's family would want to come back. Which, honestly, kind of sweet. Points to Tristan for that one. Now, the itinerary for this trip is actually pretty fire. Khloe's not messing around. She's planned a private visit to an indoor amusement park, because nothing says sisterly bonding like screaming on roller coasters together. And let me tell you, watching the Kardashians let loose in an amusement park is entertainment gold. These are women who are constantly under a microscope, constantly being photographed, constantly being judged. But in this enclosed, private space, they're just sisters being silly. They're taking risks on rides, laughing until they can't breathe, and for a brief moment, the weight of being Kardashians just melts away. The amusement park scene is low-key metaphorical, if you think about it. It's this self-contained bubble where they can be themselves without the outside world pressing in. Kind of like what Cleveland represents for Khloe, a space where she can exist outside the intensity of the Kardashian empire. She's not running from her family, but she's found somewhere she can breathe. Somewhere the cameras aren't always rolling. Well, except for the Kuwtk cameras, but you know what I mean. After the amusement park high, the crew heads to Red's restaurant for dinner, and this is where the trip takes a turn from fun to real. Because what's a Kardashian gathering without some truth-telling? They decide to play a game of truth or truth, which is basically truth or dare for people who are already too famous to do dares in public. No, I dare you to kiss a stranger, here. Just raw, unfiltered honesty. And honestly, sometimes the truth is scarier than any dare. The questions start flying. Relationships. Future plans. And then someone drops the big one, the baby question. Are Khloe and Tristan planning to have children together? Now, for anyone who knows the full Khloe and Tristan saga that unfolded after this episode, this question hits different. But in this moment, Khloe's response is actually really mature. She doesn't give a hard yes or no. She doesn't bow to pressure or expectations. She basically says, if it's meant to be, it'll happen in divine timing. Which, honestly, is probably the healthiest answer she could give. She's learned from years of public scrutiny over her personal life that you can't force timelines. You can't plan everything. Sometimes you just have to trust the process. But it's not just about future babies. The conversations get deeper. They're talking about what this Cleveland life really means. Khloe's cooking now. She's cleaning. She's going to basketball games like a regular NBA girlfriend. She's found this rhythm that's totally different from the chaos of LA. And while her sisters are happy she's happy, there's this bittersweet undercurrent to the whole thing. Because the more comfortable Khloe gets in Cleveland, the further she is from them. Kourtney, especially, is feeling it. You can see it building throughout the trip. She's quieter than usual. More reflective. And when it comes time to leave, she completely breaks down. We're talking full tears. The kind of crying that comes from a place deeper than just, I had a fun weekend. She admits she doesn't want to leave. She misses having Khloe close. And suddenly this fun girls' trip becomes this emotional reckoning with change. Because here's the thing, the Kardashian-Jenner family is tight. Like, really tight. They're in each other's lives constantly. They see each other almost daily when they're all in Calabasas. Their whole empire is built on being together, being a unit. So when one of them starts building a life elsewhere, it's not just logistically inconvenient. It's emotionally destabilizing. It challenges the whole structure they've built their lives around. Kim, always the pragmatic one, tries to process it logically. She acknowledges what everyone's thinking but not saying. Khloe's commitment to Tristan and this Cleveland routine represents a lasting shift. This isn't a phase. At first, they joked about maybe moving to Cleveland themselves, but those jokes had this hollow quality to them. Because they all knew they wouldn't. They all knew this meant Khloe was choosing a path that would keep her physically distant from the family nucleus. And that's the real story here. Not the amusement park. Not the dinner games. The story is about a family learning to adjust to change. It's about supporting someone you love even when their choices mean you see them less. It's about the complicated reality that people grow, relationships evolve, and sometimes the family structure you've always known has to shift to accommodate new chapters. Khloe's integration into Cleveland life is thorough. She's not just staying at Tristan's place when she visits. She's established routines. She knows the city. She's found her favorite spots. She's created a domestic life that gives her something she maybe didn't have in LA, normalcy. Or at least, a version of normalcy that works for someone who's still a Kardashian. She can walk down the street without being mobbed. She can go to dinner without calculating paparazzi angles. She can just be. And there's something really beautiful about that, even if it's hard for her family. Because isn't that what we all want? To find a place where we can be ourselves. Where the noise quiets down enough that we can hear our own thoughts. For Khloe, Cleveland offered that. It offered a balance between her public life and her private desires. Between being Khloe Kardashian and being Khloe, person, girlfriend, eventually mother. The house tour really drives this home. When you see how much of Khloe's personal style is woven into the space, when you see her things mixed with Tristan's things, when you see that she doesn't have a guest room where she keeps some clothes, she has half the master closet, you realize this is cohabitation. Real, genuine, living together cohabitation. The kind that comes with shared bathroom counters and inside jokes and knowing exactly where the good snacks are hidden. Kim and Kourtney clock all of this. They see the evidence. And while they don't make a huge deal about it in the moment, you can tell they're filing it away, processing what it means. Their sister is building something serious. Something that might lead to marriage, to kids, to a whole life that's centered hours away from them. The indoor amusement park scene, looking back, almost feels like the last gasp of pure fun before reality set in. They're screaming and laughing and being reckless in that controlled environment, and it's joyful. Genuinely joyful. Because when the Kardashians strip away the business and the brand and the pressure, they really are just sisters who love each other. They have fun together. They get each other in ways nobody else can. And that bond is real, even when geography tries to challenge it. Dinner at Red's is more subdued but equally important. Breaking bread together, especially in Khloe's adopted city, feels symbolic. It's her saying, "This is my life now. These are my spots. I want you to be part of this world I'm building." And her family showing up, trying the local spots, embracing this Cleveland experience, that's their way of saying, "We see you. We support you. We're trying." The truth or truth game strips away any remaining pretense. These aren't prepared talking points for a confessional. These are spontaneous, honest reactions. And when the baby question comes up, it's loaded with so much more than just curiosity. It's about legacy. It's about the next generation of Kardashians. It's about whether Khloe's kids would be Cleveland kids or LA kids. It's about how the family tree branches out and whether those branches come back to the trunk or grow in entirely new directions. Khloe's measured response about divine timing shows growth. This is a woman who's been through public heartbreak, who's had her relationship choices dissected by millions, who's faced criticism and judgment at every turn. And instead of being defensive or overly optimistic or dismissive, she's just honest. She's open to the future without being attached to a specific outcome. That's maturity. That's self-awareness. That's someone who's learned that you can't control everything, and trying to only leads to disappointment. But then Kourtney's breakdown happens, and it's like all the unspoken fears come tumbling out. Kourtney, who's usually so composed, so zen, so above the drama, she's sobbing because she doesn't want to leave her sister. She admits she misses Khloe. She admits this distance is hard. And suddenly it's not about real estate or basketball schedules or city preferences. It's about a sister missing her sister. It's about the ache of separation from someone who's been a constant in your life. This moment is probably the most real the show ever got about the cost of individual growth within a tight family unit. Because yes, Khloe deserves to follow her heart. Yes, she deserves to build a life with Tristan if that makes her happy. Yes, she deserves to find peace and normalcy wherever she can. But also, her family misses her. And those two truths can coexist. You can be happy for someone and sad for yourself at the same time. Kim, watching Kourtney fall apart, probably sees the writing on the wall. This is the new normal. Khloe visits, she doesn't stay. Khloe has a home in Cleveland now, not just a hotel. Khloe is building something that exists outside the Kardashian ecosystem in Calabasas. And while Kim is pragmatic enough to accept it, you can tell it stings. The family that built an empire on being inseparable is learning to be separate. The final night, when Tristan comes back and joins the group, there's this interesting energy. He's the reason Khloe is in Cleveland, and everyone knows it. But they also see how he treats her, how he's integrated her into his space, how he's made efforts to make her family feel welcome. It's easy to vilify someone in the abstract, but when you're sitting across from them at dinner, seeing them interact with your sister, seeing her smile, it gets complicated. Feelings are complicated. Relationships are complicated. Life is complicated. And that's kind of the thesis of this whole episode. Life doesn't fit into neat boxes. You can't freeze people in time. You can't keep everyone in one place just because it's comfortable and familiar. People evolve. They fall in love. They move. They build new homes in unexpected places. And the people who love them have to figure out how to love them across distance, across change, across the fear of losing the closeness they once had. Khloe's Cleveland chapter was always going to be complicated. For her, it represented freedom, stability, love, and a chance at the family life she'd always wanted. For her sisters, it represented loss, distance, change, and the slow dissolution of the daily proximity they'd always taken for granted. Both perspectives are valid. Both feelings are real. The trip ends with goodbyes that feel heavier than they should. Kourtney's still emotional. Kim's trying to be strong. Khloe's grateful they came but also probably relieved to have her space back. Malika and Khadijah, who've been Khloe's constants through everything, understand better than anyone that she's building a life that works for her, even if it's not what everyone expected. There's gratitude all around. Khloe thanks her family for making the trip, for seeing her life, for trying to understand. Her sisters thank her for the hospitality, for sharing her world, for being happy. Tristan thanks everyone for coming and hopes they'll return. And underneath all the pleasantries is this unspoken acknowledgement: things are different now. Things will continue to be different. And that's okay. It has to be okay. The episode closes on this reflective note. The Kardashians have always championed family above everything. Family over everything isn't just a cute phrase, it's their actual operating principle. But this trip taught them that family love doesn't require constant proximity. It doesn't require everyone living in the same zip code. It requires acceptance, support, understanding, and the willingness to get on a plane to Cleveland when your sister needs you to see her life. Looking at this episode now, knowing everything that came after, the pregnancies, the cheating scandals, the breakups, the co-parenting, all of it, it hits different. This was before the chaos. This was when it still seemed like maybe, just maybe, Khloe had found her fairy tale ending. And regardless of how things ultimately unfolded, in this moment, she was happy. She was building something. She was hopeful. And her family, despite their own feelings about the distance, despite their own sadness about seeing less of her, showed up. They put on their metaphorical Cleveland jerseys and they showed up for their sister. Because that's what family does. You might not love all their choices. You might wish they'd chosen differently. But you love them, and that means supporting them anyway. The Cleveland girls' trip wasn't just about tourism or bonding activities. It was about witnessing. Khloe needed her family to witness her life there, to validate that it was real, to confirm that she wasn't abandoning them even though she was building something new. And they needed to see it for themselves, to understand where she was and why, to process their feelings about it in real time rather than from a distance. In a weird way, the trip brought them closer even as it confirmed the physical distance. Because now when Khloe talks about Cleveland, her sisters can picture it. They know the house. They know the vibe. They have memories there. It's not some abstract faraway place, it's where their sister lives, where she laughs, where she's building her future. And that understanding, that concrete knowledge, makes the distance slightly more bearable. This episode is a masterclass in showing how families navigate change. Not with dramatic blow-ups or ultimatums, but with tears and truth games and quiet realizations over dinner. With shared closet space discoveries and amusement park screams and reluctant goodbyes. With love that persists even when it's tested by geography and different life paths. Khloe's Cleveland era was significant not because of the city itself, but because of what it represented: independence, autonomy, the courage to choose her own path even when it meant diverging from the family norm. And her family's response to it, flying out, staying in the house, participating in her life there, showed their own courage. The courage to let go just enough while still holding on to what matters most. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of Kuwtk's most emotional episodes, make sure you're subscribed to Celeb Tales HD for more celebrity content. See you in the next one.